All right, it is 9:21 Atlantic Standard Time. I'm a little sleepy. It's been a long day. I did another stream on boxing. Now I'm going to do this stream on Restore the Snyderverse and Rebel Moon for you guys. Said I was going to do it early on today. I actually said 10 minutes from now, from whatever time when I posted it up. I would be putting up a stream, and then I fell asleep, and then I got back up, and then I had to do a whole bunch of stuff. So this is the time when I have available to do this stream. So hope you guys enjoy this. Hope I give you something that you probably didn't hear before, right? Okay, so as you can see, I'm going to focus mainly and solely almost on Restore the Snyderverse and also on Rebel Moon because a lot of good information came out today, and we're going to discuss that stuff. All right, so let me start off with what I always do: give praise and honor and glory to the Most High God first, and then we'll get into the other things. For today, the scripture is coming from John chapter 19, and verses 4 on onwards. It goes like this: Jesus went outside. Pilate went outside to the people. He said, "I'm going to bring him out to you." That's Jesus now. But understand clearly, I find him not guilty. Then Jesus came out wearing the crown of thorns and a purple robe. And Pilate said, "Here's the man." And when they saw him, the leading priests and temple guards began shouting, "Crucify him, crucify him." "You crucify him," Pilate said. "I find him not guilty." The Jewish leaders replied, "By all laws, he ought to be crucified because he called himself the Son of God." And Pilate heard this. He was more than frightened, more than ever. He took Jesus back into the headquarters again and said, "Where are you from?" Jesus did not give him an answer. He said, "You won't talk to me? Don't you realize I have the power to release you or crucify you?" And then Jesus said, "You would have no power over me at all unless it was given to you from above. So the one who brought me to you has the greater sin." When Pilate tried to release him, the Jewish leaders told him, "If you release this man, you're not a friend of Caesar. Anyone who declares himself a king is a rebel against Caesar." Then it said this. When they said this, Pilate brought Jesus out to them again. Then Pilate sat down in the judgment seat on the platform, which is called the stone pavement. It was now about noon of the day. It was in preparation for the Passover. Pilate said to the people, "Here is your king." They said, away with him, crucify him." "What? Crucify your king?" Pilate said. "We have no king but Caesar." So Pilate gave them over to Jesus and they crucified him. All right. And long and short of it is that when you decide to peddle the truth, when you decide to speak the truth without fear of consequence, 9 times out of 10, you'll find yourself villainized. You'll find yourself crucified for it. All right? Telling the truth, you know, they like to give you these little fables that when you tell the truth, good things come from that. And sometimes it does. But a lot of times, very bad things can come from that. Okay? That's why I like Zack Snyder's movies, because, you know, just because somebody does the right thing doesn't mean that the results that come from that, the immediate results that is, are good. And it's the same thing with telling the truth. You know, a lot of times people who tell the truth or they come out and speak, it's at a great cost. Okay? And that's what happened with Jesus. Jesus' way, truth, life, and it was at great cost by the Jewish leaders, not the Jewish people per se, but the Jewish leaders, that he suffered for it. Shout out to Leroy Kong, who says, "Hello to you, great live." Thank you, man, Leroy. Unfortunately, I can't dialogue with you tonight. But we want to get into Restore the Snyderverse and how far we've reached, what is happening, what's the progress. So there's several different things that I want to talk to you guys about. First one is that Warner Brothers is not giving complete creative control over to James Gunn and Peter Safran. And I just feel like, you know, I've been doing this on Twitter. I've had a campaign for Zack Snyder's Justice League in IMAX, November the 17th. I know that Snyder Queen has a campaign she's trying to do as well, where she's talking about using the hashtag on November 17th to commemorate, of course, the anniversary of Justice League animated series on TV, as well as the Justice League movie that came out, The Atrocity, which we want to replace with Justice League in theaters. Now, it is kind of close. Like I said, better late than never. It is close. It's right to today's October the 20th, if I'm not mistaken. And this is also the launching date of Killers of the Flower Moon, which aired today in cinemas. This Martin Scorsese's movie. Go see it. But so it's not exactly a month anymore. And if Warner Bros. Is going to do this, what I'm talking about, putting it into IMAX, which is still not difficult to do, and something they still can do, it's kind of like in the late phases, right? Anyways, the thing about it is this, right? A number of developments have happened. One of the things we know is James Gunn and Peter Safran are not completely in control of DC and what they're doing. They're kind of overseen, and I think this is a good thing. Hopefully, David Zaslav and particularly Abdi and DeLuca, they would oversee this. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if they'll fire James Gunn. I think he's going to get fired, but I don't know if they'll actually do this. But this is the one thing I know. I know Abdi and DeLuca want Christopher Nolan back at Warner Bros. They want their auteur directors back at Warner Bros. I've been pitching, time and time again about, cinema, and I've been speaking directly to them. Like I told you guys, you can speak directly to them through the Warner Brothers Twitter handle, okay, or X handle, whatever you want to call it. And so I've been using that. I've been using the hashtag Zack Snyder's Justice League in IMAX, particularly. I've seen a lot of people kind of come under the Zack Snyder's Justice League in IMAX train, because this movie should see cinemas. Not just cinemas, but IMAX particularly, because again, and so we've been pushing that. I've been pushing a campaign like that, like nobody's business on Twitter. In addition to Rebel Moon, in addition to Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's Artist Equities movie Air. But suffice it to say that they have been listening. Okay, there's a couple positive things that have transpired in the last couple of days that tells me that Warner Bros. Pictures, which is Abdi and DeLuca, who were very successful at putting out hits for Warner Bros., have been listening to us. And this is what I really want to talk about in the next couple of minutes. So the first thing I noticed is that, one, Constantine 2 is still on the cards. That's good. 2, we see that James Gunn and Peter Safran don't have complete creative control, complete control over the DC brand, even though they have DC Studios. We know that, Gunn doesn't really oversee Todd Phillips' Joker set of movies, and also he doesn't oversee Matt Reeves' set of stuff, even though they had of DC. So I know that's more under Abdi and DeLuca's purview. And Abdi and DeLuca, as I said before, have been producing. James Gunn hasn't done anything. Nothing has been hitting for DC so far under James Gunn and Peter Safran. So, in fact, it's cost the studio a lot of money. So I can see that control that they have, kind of losing some of that control because they haven't been able to be profitable as a studio. Whereas the people who really know things, the seasoned people, the Abdi and DeLucas, they've been doing great, right? They have 7 hits since they've come into heading Warner Bros. Pictures, going on 8, 9 very soon. And in addition to that, when they were heading DC for the moment, the fans actually, there was much more excitement. The fans were really more interested, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it really, my personal opinion, I think Abdi and DeLuca should have been heading Warner Bros. Pictures, and they should probably just head back over Warner Bros. Pictures and just let James Gunn and Mr. Peter Safran do something else. You know what I mean? Maybe just Peter Safran just produce movies and James Gunn probably direct movies. But quite frankly, I think they were the better fit. Now, with respect to Restore the Snyderverse, what makes this so good is because I've been watching at all the fans, and we've been also explaining some of the movies, showing the beauty in Zack Snyder's movies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the current events that are happening in the world today, only, again, these movies are so relatable to these things that we find ourselves seeing the relevance of these movies even more and more and more. And the fact that the emphasis in Hollywood and the emphasis in, is now more on cinema, now we can be able to relay that and explain that even more easily, because BBS, for example, and Man of Steel and Zack Snyder's Justice League, Wonder Woman, they're all more or less cinema. Okay. Now, interestingly, coming out, Alan Heinberg said a couple of statements about Zack Snyder and how wonderful Zack Snyder was, how Zack Snyder went with what he was doing, even though Jeff Johns brought him on board. Of course, he talked about how Jeff Johns had changed up the ending of Wonder Woman and also did the additional the additional filming, the additional photography for the Mother Box thing. So he just kind of confirms that Jeff Johns changed the ending. Of course, we also know that Jeff Johns is no longer working in conjunction with DC. He has his own thing now. He's doing his own thing with I think it's Image Comics. I think he's dealing with, and so he has his own things coming out, and it's of course it's a ripoff of what Zack Snyder has been doing. So by and large, it's just good that Jeff Johns is not in the company. That's another move that Warner Brothers made, which I thought was brilliant. The only people that got to get out now is Casey Bloys, James Gunn, those kinds of people. You got to get them out of there. You know what I'm saying? But with respect to Warner Brothers Pictures and what they're doing, they're starting to progressively do smarter and smarter things. And of course, we put your case, we make a case for Zack Snyder. I got to be honest with you guys. All I just want to know is that Zack Snyder Justice League goes into theaters. Y'all are talking about, air cut. And I know there's a lot of things going on social media, right? And on Twitter or X or whatever they call themselves, you see a lot of people pitching for make the Batfleck movie, make the air cut. These are cool, but these are not things that can happen this year. You see what I'm saying? Even though the writer's strike is over, the actor's strike is not over. Okay, so those are movies that can't happen unless you have the workforce to do them. Whereas Zack Snyder Justice League don't need a workforce. That's why I said all we need is for that movie to get a chance in cinemas. Yes, it's a 2-year-old movie. Yes, people have seen it. But all it needs is a chance to be seen on the biggest possible screen possible, IMAX. And it's gonna do its thing. It has nothing to do with Zack Snyder per se. It's just what that movie is. That movie is so wonderful a movie and so rich with so much stuff. No doubt about it's gonna do well, especially in the year where we've had 3-hour movies, we have 4-hour movies. The most recent movie that just came out this weekend here, Killers of the Flower Moon, is 3 hours long. Cinema. And a lot of people are very receptive to it. It should make about 20-30 million on its debut, and that's great. And I'm just saying, Zack Snyder's Justice League should get that opportunity to go global. I know it's 2 years. I know it's late, but put it out there, because I'm telling you right now, we have a loyal fan base to Zack Snyder. We have real hardcore Snyder fans that will contribute. I'm not lying about this. Put $500 million down on that movie. It doesn't matter that the movie came out. We had a version of Justice League out there. People went and they supported the Snyder Cut. It was a big hit. It was a big success for Max. We don't know all the exact figures, but it was a hit for Max. It was admitted, by people within Warner Brothers. It was a big hit. Made a lot of money. And that was at the time, a 4-year-old movie that came out, that should have come out in 2017, came out in 2021. And that was the biggest thing for HBO Max. Yeah, people can say what they want, but it was the biggest thing for HBO Max. So why not put it in the theaters? We've seen from poll after poll after poll, people want to see the Justice League versus Darkseid. Nothing else comes second. Nothing else supersedes that. You have the minor people here and there talking about Superman versus Brainiac, and you talk about, a Superman legacy movie. You got one or two drizzles. But the main thing that makes DC is the Justice League, right? So we have all of that. And then we also had this great news. Well, of course, Chris Wozniak, he's actually right now suing. He's going to sue Warner Brothers. They're going to go to court because he's trying to be working with the lawyers. The lawyers not listening to him. So they're probably going to go to court for the Batman story. And Jeff Johns is involved in ripping off things, constantly involved in ripping off things. Which Jeff Johns is a thing of the past now. He's definitely out of Warner Brothers. He's definitely out of DC. So he's a thing of the past now. He's not going to be involved in DC after Aquaman. So that's great. James Gunn will want to keep him there. Even though you haven't heard a peep out of James Gunn for recent times. And that's because James Gunn right now, he got us locked down and low. Now we also know that Universal might possibly be in the runnings to buy Warner Brothers in 2 years' time. But I say I'm not banking on that. I think Warner Brothers is doing well enough with Abdi and DeLuca. I think they're going to do expressively well. They just need to get the DC card running. And there's no better time, like I said before, for Zack Snyder's Justice League going there. And I'm seeing people in the movement now picking up and starting to catch on what I was saying all along, which is that Zack Snyder's Justice League is the doorway to restore the Snyderverse. It's not nothing else. They're talking about a haircut, they're talking about all these other things. No, the thing that will restore the Snyderverse is you got to undo everything that the previous regime did. And to undo it means they said, no, this movie's not going into theaters. No, it has to go into theaters. That's the thing that will make money, because nothing else is making money right now. You might have the independent labels or the independent brands like Batman and Joker that might make money, you know what I'm saying? But those are not coming now. Next year, it's a Batman movie, I think it is. It's not Joker 2. I don't know which movie's supposed to come out next year. But that's just one DC movie. Why not put Zack Snyder's Justice League into theaters? You don't have to get any actors. You don't have to do any post-production work. The movie's already scaled for IMAX. Put it in there and let it make its money. We know minimally that movie's going to make $500 million. Minimally. And this is a movie everybody's seen. Everybody knows the story. And it's still going to make $500 million because at least the hardcore fans are going to support it hard. Right? People are buying the DVDs and Blu-rays as we speak. Warner Bros. Put it out this month. And people are buying the Steelbook, the Blu-rays, the DVDs. They're buying up the stuff. It just sells. That's what it does. And the rewatchability of these movies is ridiculous. So, you know, some other good news. Rebel Moon. We're going to have a comic strip. And they're going with Blood Axe and his history. So there's a comic strip coming out. You know, I hear the negativity around it. I hear the stupid people who try to say stupid things. I don't really care about them. So that's great news. In addition to Zack Snyder launching the comic book, they were supposed to have a video game. Of course, there was a little problem with Evil Genius and all of that, and I don't know what's going on with that. But that's really great news. And Rebel Moon, besides the comic that's coming out, Rebel Moon, we see, you know, the community really rallying behind that and really pushing it and promoting it. And I've been promoting both Rebel Moon and Zack Snyder's Justice League in IMAX and Restore the Snyderverse, and both of them can work in tandem. You know, I wanted to say something, which I think is really worth the while. After Barbie and Barbieheimer, as they call it, which was successful, you can actually promote multiple things. I believe you can promote multiple things, and in so doing, optimize the message so you can get the message out there much more bigger. So, for example, Rebel Moon's coming out, but also you got Zack Snyder's Justice League. Zack Snyder didn't see theaters. Rebel Moon hasn't seen theaters. So you can promote those two, and if those two movies come out around about the same time, also, that would really help the situation in that you can have a joint promotion. So that's why I said Justice League in IMAX November the 17th, 2023. You want to put dates on these things. You want to be specific. You want to be targeted when you're doing a campaign. With respect to what should come next after restoring the Snyderverse, as I said before, the haircuts, the only thing it needs is some post-production work. And that would definitely happen after the strike is over. So, you know, sometime in 2024, if the strike is over, you could have the haircut there, right? And I know a lot of people want to see the haircut. And the other thing is to make a fresh, brand new movie would be make the Batfleck movie. There's rumors that Abdi and DeLuca, you know, have spoken with Ben Affleck concerning that. So it seems as though Abdi and DeLuca, they really are trying to push in the direction. You know, they were very supportive of Zack Snyder this year with the Full Circle event. I just believe that they are people who more love the art and original movies and, unique ideas and different takes. And this is why I kept on speaking, dialoguing with them. And I advise you guys again to direct your stuff towards Abdi and DeLuca in Warner Bros. Pictures. Now, I understand the people are going to keep their minds open. So you have people saying sells the Snyderverse to Netflix. You're talking about, notifying Universal, but do not listen to me carefully. You guys want to keep on hashtagging Warner Brother Pictures in there. Warner Brother Pictures, not Warner Brother Discovery, Warner Brother Pictures. Now, Warner Brother Pictures want sometimes Warner Brother Discovery to know what's going on as well, because David's ads up to be in the roof. Now, there's another thing that they're having coming up, and I need to mention it on my channel. They're talking about a letter campaign to the head of Netflix and to the head of Warner Brother Pictures, if I'm not mistaken, Abdi and DeLuca. So they want to send written letters to Abdi and DeLuca. They want to send written letters to the head of Netflix, right? Now, I'm going to say two things about this. One, we're in an age where we have electronic media. We don't need to do that. We can hashtag Netflix. We don't have to get so personal that we have to address directly to them. If you can find their emails, or if you can find their Twitter handles, you could just directly direct the stuff via private messaging or in public to them like that. Because I'll be honest with you, as much as that is an old-fashioned way and everything, we have technology now. We don't need to be writing letters manually and doing all this stuff. I understand some people are old school and want to do that, but no, because we've done it a number of times before and it reaped nothing. It reaped no rewards, right? So why are we doing that? That's like exercising futility. Unless you want to do it electronically, in which case that's not as inconvenient. Because now I have to go find a post office. Where's the next post office? In my country, the post offices are not easy and easily accessible these days. So I don't want to go into all that inconvenience when I can just simply directly speak to Abdi and DeLuca via Warner Brother Pictures. And I think that just having a constant speaking to them, I think is what we should do. But anyway, to each his own. I'm not going to tell people not to do this or not to do that, but I'm just saying. So that's a campaign that's going on. So you have the campaign of Restore the Snyderverse, and you have the campaign of Zack Snyder's Justice League and IMAX. There's people also launching some dates for Release the Air Cut, which we're also very supportive of. Of course, I'm also supportive of Alita Battle Angel sequel. We keep updates on that and see how that's going. There's also some people who will support Release the Schumacher Cut. I'm also now joining with them and supporting them in that. But I want people to get a bigger picture and a better context to some of these things. We had Comic-Con in New York, New York Con, and in New York Con, certain things came out. And by the way, the release of Blood Axe series in comics is going to be in Titan Comics, so that's very exciting. Zack Snyder's been doing a lot of very interesting things, having a lot of fun. It's really fun to be following Zack Snyder's stuff, and even I think people talk about fun and they don't realize that fun doesn't have to be funny. You can have fun without it being funny. You know what I'm saying? You can have wholesome fun. You can enjoy yourself, immerse yourself in the world, get to know all about the world, be as nerdy as you want to be without being funny, and it's just weird, seeing these Marvel fans out there. There was this YouTube channel with these Marvel fans talking about how Martin Scorsese's movies are so boring, and it just reminded me of what Martin Scorsese said. He said that some people think that these tentpole, these comic book movies and these franchise movies are cinema, and that's not cinema. Cinema is much more than that. And it was interesting listening to these Marvel fans, fanboys, big Marvel fanboys, talk about Martin Scorsese, who's the father of cinema. If y'all don't know, Martin Scorsese is the guy that made cinema. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. I want to say that the developments that have happened so far are just awesome. That's what we want. So you want to find yourself in a position where, let me show you something. You want to find yourself in a position where you can get these movies and get the Snyderverse restored. It's Zack Snyder's Justice League in 2023. It's the Air Cut in 2024, and in 2025 you want to make sure you get the Batfleck movie, maybe a Superman movie, solo movie with Henry Cavill. and Wonder Woman movie maybe. And then you want to have Justice League 2, you know. So much stuff we found out, you know, Matt Vaughn was going to do probably a trilogy with Superman, and a lot, you know, was going to use Brainiac. We found out in the news that Zack Snyder's Justice League, that we found out that, you know, so many takes on Zack Snyder and his take and his understanding of heroes and stuff. And it really does translate into real life. Like right now, coming out of the shadows, speaking your mind on the Palestinian issue, you know, how Israel is, you know, oppressing Palestine right now. It's very important that you have a voice and you speak out on these things. That's what it is to be a hero. That's what it is to be a superhero, in my opinion. Hero is not about getting praise from people. I think hero is about doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? And having the character, the moral character and fiber to do the right thing, in spite of the fact that it's not popular. And I think that's something that Zack Snyder's movies really bring out, regardless of whether it's superhero movies or whether it's Sucker Punch or whatever. That's what it is about to me. So let me just bring this up here. Let me see what we got here. I got some bookmarks here. I don't know if I have them. Okay. So some of these people, to me, are superheroes right now. The people who are talking about free Palestine. I think the people who are going to be on the right side of history when all is said and done, to me, they're superheroes. Let's see here. I really appreciate what Mel Gibson is doing also for the Armenians who have been pushed out of Azerbaijan, and the human genocide is happening there. But just to point out something here, so a couple polls came out, and of the recent CBMs, which is your favorite to date, you have Zack Snyder's Justice League at 46%, Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition 47%, Infinity War and Endgame 4% and 3%. So these polls again show that Zack Snyder's Justice League is one of the favorite CBMs for people. And this is a recent poll that came out. And the thing about it is, you know, it's just amazing. You know, which character of Henry Cavill would you like most? 58% people said Clark Kent Superman. 20% said Geralt of Rivera. 11% said Napoleon Solo, and 11% said Sherlock Holmes. So, you know, we've had all these polls that have also supported. This is what I'm trying to say, you know. Would you like to see Darkseid versus the Justice League? Was resoundingly yes. Which would you want to see most? Justice League versus Darkseid, Superman Legacy Creator, Commandos, or Peacemaker? And resoundingly, Justice League versus Darkseid came up. Another poll. Would you like to see Justice League versus Darkseid or Superman versus the Elite? 91% of the people said Justice League versus Darkseid. 72% of the people said they were not excited to see the new DCEU. 97 people want to see Zack Snyder Justice League in IMAX if it is released this year. 97% of the people said Justice League versus Darkseid is what they want to see versus Superman versus Creature Commandos versus a Batman movie. That's crazy. Okay, so all I'm saying is that the facts seem to support what Zack Snyder was doing. And so it's just great to see this data, because people are telling me, some people were telling me, even my fellow countrymen were telling me that, you know, you shouldn't do these polls, or Warner Brothers already knows these polls. Well, these polls are not just for Warner Brothers. These polls are for other people to convince them, people who are watching, there's data behind this. It's not just we just talking, right? Because Warner Brothers might have their information to themselves, but you need to also convince the population that, hey, this is a way the Warner Brothers needs to go. Yeah. So for this year, this is the quest we have to keep on. Okay. I don't want to go into any other topic, like Israeli versus Palestinian stuff and all of that. I'll go into that some other time and how Zack Snyder's movies actually address that. But I'll suffice it to say that Restore the Snyderverse is good and popping. We have different people have different approaches to it, and that's okay. But would you guys please do me two favors? The first one is, whatever you do, address to Warner Brother Pictures. Okay? 2, Warner Brother Pictures, not Warner Brothers Discovery. 2, whatever you do, use the Restore the Snyderverse hashtag. Okay? Keep it going. They're listening, particularly the people at Warner Brother Pictures. There's some division in Warner Brothers. Has been division for a long time, and finally they're getting now some sort of control, and things really starting to move off in the direction they're supposed to go. Okay, I think they rejected Jeff Johns and what he's been doing, and finally they got rid of him, and now it's going to be better. Now, you still have James Gunn there. I don't know if Joss Whedon's still there or if they removed Joss Whedon from the background, but it's really good. I just hope that they change the tone now. The tonal change is important. And it doesn't have to be, like I said before, even Martin Scorsese agrees with me on this. It doesn't have to be all serious, but you have to have a tone whereby you're not chasing down Marvel. You're allowing the organic, authentic. Things can be funny, but they need to be organically funny. They mustn't be manufactured. It mustn't be a studio stepping in and saying, no, we're going to take over from this director here. And you can feel the unevenness in the flow and the tone of the movie. It feels manufactured. And we know Aquaman's manufactured like hell. There's like lots and lots of notes. So I'm not saying notes are bad. I'm just saying, if the director's doing what the director's doing, just let the director do what he do. You know what I'm saying? You usually win when the director does what he does. That's all I'm saying. And I like that. I like that Abby and DeLuca treat movies more like art than they do commerce, and that's also very important. I'm not saying they can't have checks and balances on them, but they've been hitting home runs like nonstop the last year. So they must know what they're doing. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of polls here, and I think all of them are closed now. That's good. So the closed polls, I'll post them up on here on YouTube in the community section as well. I'll post them up on Facebook, and I'll post them up on Twitter. Don't forget again to tag Warner Brother Pictures, no matter what you do, on whatever platform you are on social media. I need to expand to TikTok and stuff. The other thing you need to do, guys, is you need to get little animated segments of Zack Snyder's Justice League, and try to show people how deep sometimes some little segment might be, because sometimes each little segment or each little thing, there's so many little gems and nuggets, you could actually show something. I'll try and do that more on YouTube. I'll try to do that more on other platforms. All right, one last thing before I go on this stream. Guys, I want to say thank you guys for just staying with it, just continuing to stay with it. A lot of y'all wanted to give up. Some of y'all was talking about going on to Rebel Moon and stuff. No, you can go on to Rebel Moon, but you're not going to move on from DC, because DC's not in a good place right now. All right, DC, we're going to have 4 flops by the end of this year. You had flops last year. I think it was, how many flops did we have last year? We had Black Adam. We had the Suicide Squad. I think that's it. We had 2 flops last year. The year before we had 2 flops as well. So, it ain't looking good for DC, especially the universe. Now, with respect to Abby and DeLuca, I was going to say this. I forgot to say this. I don't know exactly what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to fire James Gunn, if they're going to have this, outer DC thing. But I do think that they're considering restoring the Snyderverse. I think they're considering having the Snyderverse like a Matt Reeves kind of universe thing going on, or like, you know, what Todd Phillips is doing, a sequel to Joker, something outside of the confines of the DCU. So they still let James Gunn do his thing, but you got this stuff here on the side. The thing about it is, on why that might make sense is, they already have several Batmans. They already have several Supermans. They already have several this, that, the other, several Jokers. Why not? And the idea is, you got this thing here, so they can actually make money off of something. So let's say James Gunn's Superman or whatever, his universe, whatever, is not firing off on all cylinders. You got that Snyderverse right there that's making a ton of money for them. You know what I mean? You got, you know, Matt Reeves' Batman series that will be making some money for them. You know what I mean? You got the Joker thing going on that can make some money for them. That's how I look at it. So that maybe James Gunn's not controlling that. Maybe he's just controlling the DCU arm of the thing. And then these guys are doing, because it's a multiverse. And if you have a multiverse, this is possible. I hope that they do something like that. Maybe that's where they'll go, that everybody can eat their cake and enjoy themselves, right? Maybe that's the way they're going to go with it, and James Gunn will be in control of the DCU. You know, the studios is for the DCU, but the things outside of the DCU, you know, he's not in control of that. Maybe that's how they're going to do it, and that would be good. You know, I think that they don't need the DCU. I don't think they needed James Gunn. I don't think they needed Peter Safran. I think Abdi and DeLuca would have been sufficient. They're really good at what they do, but it is what it is. So if James Gunn stays on, I guess they're just focused on the DCU and making sure that's successful, which would be good. Again, more is not bad. I mean, particularly if you let the Snyderverse exist, more is not bad in my opinion. And once James Gunn has nothing to do with Zack Snyder, once James Gunn has nothing to do with, you know, Matt Reeves or with what's the guy's name? With Todd Phillips, they have their own things going on. I think it's fair enough. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's the approach they're going to go with. I don't know. But what I do know is we still have a chance to restore the Snyderverse, and we should really push hard for Abdi and DeLuca because they're reasonable people, and they understand the demand and supply kind of thing. I hope they also bring back Constantine, because especially not just Constantine, but Constantine with Keanu Reeves. I really hope that sequel gets off the ground. And that's the next thing I think I'm going to be pushing hard behind, seeing Constantine 2 become a reality. But that's what I got for you guys. I am Christ, I am Disciple. I hope you guys had a good one. I hope you guys have a good night. If you don't see me stream anything for the next couple of days, even though I might continue to stream, the next stream may be something on Palestine, particularly the resolutions, how things can be sorted out, how we as citizens of the world can push this thing in the direction it needs to go. Because right now, this is not a good situation that's happening right now in Palestine at all. Like, people are getting bombed right now, they're getting killed right now. This is not cool at all. All right. So I will, of course, address that at a later time. I will catch you guys later. I am Christ, I am Disciple. You guys have a good night. God bless you. Have a good weekend. If you guys are going to see Killers of the Flower Moon, please go see it. It's a really good movie, and it's important that you see it. I'm going to catch you guys later. Peace.